MakingAScene.org brings you the rise of micro-fanbases and why 1,000 true fans is what really matters. Welcome, focused learners, to this explainer. If you're an indie artist, a creator, or just knee-deep in the modern creator economy, well, you're in the right place. Today, we're officially ditching that exhausting algorithmic treadmill and breaking down a literal paradigm shift happening right now in the modern music industry.
So, let me just ask you this. What if you don't actually need millions of fans to make a living? Seriously. I know so many artists who are just completely burnt out, right? Exhausted from chasing viral fame and those constantly shifting vanity metrics. For decades, we've been sold this shiny, almost lottery-like dream. Reach the absolute masses, get played everywhere, and hey, the money will just magically fall from the sky. But what if that whole narrative is basically a trap?
Okay, let's dive into this. Because as MakingAScene.org points out, the old music business, it was built on needing everybody. It demanded mass appeal, which literally made it a lottery ticket where you just sat around praying for a gatekeeper to pick you out of the crowd. But the new music business, it just needs somebody. It relies on a micro-fan base. It completely shifts you from being a lottery player hoping to get lucky to being a proactive, empowered business owner.
Now listen to this observation directly from MakingAScene.org. Quote, "1 million passive listeners are not a business, they are fog." Ouch. Yeah, that kind of twists the knife, doesn't it? Especially if you're putting all your chips on streaming numbers. Because having huge numbers or a viral video clip doesn't actually pay your rent. The algorithm's attention is just incredibly shallow. You might look great on a quick screenshot, but those passive scrollers, they aren't your infrastructure. They're just fog waiting to blow away.
So this entire paradigm shift boils down to one very specific number: 1,000. This is the core thesis of the 1,000 true fans concept, and MakingAScene.org reminds us exactly why this idea absolutely refuses to die. 1,000 true fans isn't just a literal headcount, okay? It's a symbol. It represents that exact turning point where you stop throwing spaghetti at the algorithmic wall and start building real, sustainable infrastructure. It means finding the people who will actually open their wallets over time, because your art deeply matters to them.
So how do we measure this? Well, we've all been conditioned to chase the vanity metrics on the left side. Followers, views, likes, monthly listeners, the numbers we obsessively refresh our apps to see. But stop right there. Take a breath. Now look at the true business metrics on the right. Email addresses, ticket sales, merch orders, memberships. This right here, this is the actual infrastructure of a real career. Because, spoiler alert, you cannot pay your electric bill with a like, but you absolutely can with a recurring membership or a direct merch order.
We really have to address the elephant in the room. Platforms like Spotify, TikTok, and YouTube, they are incredible for discovery, truly. But the fatal mistake so many artists make is treating discovery like it's the destination. MakingAScene.org specifically reminds us that these platforms are terrible for actual business ownership because you don't control the data, you don't own the relationship. The true destination, that has to be your website, your store, and your email list.
Which brings us to arguably the most crucial question of all. What happens after somebody cares? Just think about it. Someone hears your track, they totally vibe with it, they care for a split second, then what? If the answer is, well, they just go back to scrolling, then that moment is completely lost. Poof, gone. You absolutely have to capture that spark before the algorithm distracts them with the next shiny object. So how exactly do you capture it? By making the artist's website the hub again. I know, for a while there, we all treated our websites like these dusty digital brochures with an outdated bio from years ago. But MakingAScene.org insists that the website has to make a massive comeback as a dynamic, living ecosystem. It needs to be the central station where all your socials, your streaming profiles, your live show QR codes, where everything points back to. It has to be your owned home base.
Because at the end of the day, direct engagement wins. It's an absolute game changer. Think about it. Email lists you completely own, WooCommerce stores where you control the entire checkout experience, VIP fan clubs, permission-based data. Direct engagement beats algorithmic begging every single time. When a fan hands over their email address or buys directly from your store, they're literally raising their hand saying, "Hey, I want to hear from you." That owned connection is absolute gold.
And this brilliantly illustrates the concrete math behind building a sustainable middle-class living as an artist. Check this out. If you have those 1,000 true fans and they spend an average of just $50 a year across tickets, merch, and memberships, boom, that is $50,000 in gross revenue. If that average bumps up to $100 a year, that's $100,000 gross. Obviously, you've got production costs and taxes to factor in, but this totally proves you don't need millions of casual listeners to thrive. A micro-fan base is a highly effective, powerful economic engine.
And this sustainable income is built through what makingascene.org calls a revenue stack. So instead of just praying for one magic income stream to save you, you build different doors for different fans. Step 1 is streaming. That's for awareness. Step 2 is live shows for the physical experience. Step 3 introduces direct sales on your site for dedicated support. And Step 4, that layers in memberships for recurring income. You are systematically building a resilient business here.
Now, of course, technology plays a huge role in organizing all of this, but we have to be smart about it. It is way too easy to fall into the trap of complicated crypto scavenger hunts that, honestly, just make the fan relationship colder. Nobody wants that. Instead, we need to view tech as a tool. Let AI act as your business assistant to figure out which cities buy the most merch. Use Web3 for simple token-gated access. The whole point is using tech to make the human connection clearer and easier, not to replace it.
Which brings us to a really fascinating concept championed by makeascene.org, the fan passport model. Basically, this functions as an artist-owned intelligence system. It tracks fan actions across shows, merch, and email lists to build a living fan economy. Imagine a fan scans a QR code at your merch table. Boom, that's a stamp. They buy a vinyl record online, another stamp. You finally stop guessing where your most engaged fans are, and you start routing real intelligence to serve your community better. It's brilliant.
I absolutely love this next quote from makingascene.org. Niche is not small, niche is focused. Seriously, listen closely to this. You do not need to sand down your edges for mass appeal. One of the biggest, most toxic lies in the industry is that being specific somehow limits you. It's literally the exact opposite. Micro-fan bases reward honesty. They reward a weird, unique story. Whether you're an experimental jazz musician, a punk band, or an underground electronic producer, you just need to find the people who get your specific world and respect them.
So here is your game plan to stop building your castle on the sand of rented platforms. Build your system. Use streaming for exactly what it's meant for, discovery. Use your website for total, uncompromised ownership. Use your email list for direct, unfiltered communication. And honestly, most importantly, focus on building those 1,000 true believers before you ever waste another minute chasing a million passive listeners. Choose yourself and give your fans a real ecosystem where they can choose you back.
So we'll end on this provocative question. Will you keep chasing strangers, or will you start organizing believers? The choice you make here entirely defines the future of your career. Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry.